name in your mouth, better add your respect. Otherwise, pressure gon' be at your neck when I burn you like. This ain't a game, my aim is the throne. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone. Throw it off in my brain and I'm back to the bone.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the KDL Day 6. I am State. Joined with me is Peter as we continue on this Wednesday afternoon from Seoul, Korea. 3 team matches in store for you. Should be a very exciting day. How you feeling, Peter?
I am doing good as always. Thank you for asking. And just as you said it, today's a Wednesday, meaning we have 3 team matches. And honestly, I am a fan of these days as much as the Saturdays because when we have team matches, there's usually a lot of rivalries.
Yeah, there's a lot of rivalries, and also given the season is, you know, a round-robin format where every team plays against every other team. Once you come on to those Wednesdays, oftentimes there's a lot of upheaval in terms of the standings, and it has implications on the playoff chances of these teams later on in the season. But today for the match is going to be a little bit of a different setup than usual. We have some top dogs going against some teams that are kind of on the lower end of the roster. So let's take a look at the overview for today about what matches we have in store. And you know, coming through the regular season right now, we're about, I think you said, Peter, about a third of the way through, the regular season, as we are working every day to get closer and closer to those playoffs. And of course, one of the nice features of the regular season here at KDL, that wild card, 5 teams can be making it into the playoffs.
Having 5 teams available for the playoffs, as you said, it definitely makes it easier to have a chance to get up there. So we're hoping to see maybe some amateur teams we didn't expect to get to that wild card at least.
Yeah, wild card is going to be a lot of fun this season as a lot of these teams are vying for that rank 4 and 5 spot. And of course, there is a lot of prize money up for grabs. That is 100 million Korean won. Not in total, but just for first place for the champions of the KDL regular season 1. As the victors will take home that 100 million Korean won prize. That's somewhere, I think, around 75 or 80,000 US dollars. So a lot of cash up for grabs. Of course, we also have the Fan Race MVP, which if you are watching here on the KDL Global Stream, which I assume you are since you're listening to me and Peter, it's a little bit tough to navigate the Korean website to go in for the Fan Race vote. But at the end of the season, we're going to be able to pick whoever the fans decide as the MVP. And then a new tier also being added, the MVP. That's going to be for the finals in the playoffs. The Korean production staff, the casters, the staff that we have on hand will decide who is going to be the MVP of that very final match.
It's definitely exciting to be the MVP because not only did your team win, you also get a little prize being considered the player that was the most pivotal in your team's victory for that day. And I think for a lot of pro players, they have, you know, big pride in their work. They grind the game every single day, and to be recognized for that finally is amazing.
Yeah, and it's even more important than just 500,000 Korean won, right? It's, as you said, the recognition of being noted by your peers as being the MVP, the most valuable member of the team to bring you to glory as we look at the matches we have today. Racinggame. Oh, excuse me, the match results from previous Wednesday, getting ahead of myself as Mireille and Sejong continuing to really live up to expectations so far this season. A lot of teams, a lot of fans coming in so that Mireille and Sejong is really the team to watch, and they certainly have been delivering.
Mireille and Sejong had a rough start to KDL this season, but just as you put it, they're recovering so fast right now. They're on a great path, and of course, we've had KWANGDONGFREECS taking a 2-0 victory over NUTMITE, which is pretty expected, but I think FINALEe losing to Desperado, that's where it was a bit unexpected.
Yeah, FINALEe-sports, kind of the old Rocks roster coming through. They were able to be quite successful in the preseason when they had Jung on their team, but this new roster without Jung, since he's retired and now focused on his studies, has been struggling a little bit to make way for the gap that's basically in that team. And Desperado really has been stepping it up. I have to say, they seem very good, well-rounded, better than I was expecting them to be in this season and potentially playoff contenders.
They certainly are looking to be that way, but as we take a look at the match results from the last Saturday, we've had Team Rocks going against Team Always, and this one went a little bit expected in the sense that we do want to see Seongnam Rocks winning against our amateur teams, and then followed by one of our biggest matches yet.
Yeah, a pretty big upset there with Mirai and Sejong actually taking down Liv Sandbox, who has had, I don't want to say a disastrous start to the regular season, but in their opening match on day one, week one, they went up against the KWANGDONG a rematch from the preseason finals where they fell flat. They were defeated once again. And then coming up against Mirai and Sejong, another one of these teams that is potentially vying for a top 3 spot this entire season, to get shut out 2-0. It's a pretty impressive result for Mirai and Sejong. And the good news for Liv Sandbox is moving forward, their schedule, it should get easier. But yeah, it's kind of a tough start for them.
Yeah, and then there was solo matches where it was very surprising that Spear and Guard got eliminated for me. Players like Will making it up to that redemption match, it wouldn't have been expected over a player like Spear.
Yeah, and let's go look at the predictions for the matches we're going to have today.
The standings.
Oh, the standings, excuse me. Let's look at the standings here for the regular season thus far. As today, as we were talking about earlier, we do have a little bit of some mismatches going on. The opening match today is going to be KWANGDONGFREECS versus FINALEe-sports. The Freaks, they have been undefeated so far. The only team with a 3-0 record here in the regular season, whereas FINALEe-sports all the way down at 0-3.
Today is the day where we see the first place team going against our 8th place team. So based on just that alone, it does look a bit unfair, but FINALEe definitely need to step up now because they're the only team with 0-3.
Yeah, and Liv Sandbox versus Always, another one of those. I mean, I love how the fan prediction is pretty much exactly the same. It's 91% for the Freaks over FINALEe-sports. Liv Sandbox even more favored here against Team Always, as Liv Sandbox, they're just one of the best speed teams in the business, and Always, if I'm not mistaken, they have yet to win a single track in team speed thus far. It's really been kind of a hole in their side, and their player Diamond, this kind of rookie coming up into the limelight, he's doing quite well. He's performed in ace matches in every single one of these team solo matches or team speed matches. He's doing very reasonably well, but the support on the rear ranks for Team Always has been lacking. If they want to win against Liv Sandbox, they're gonna have to step it up. And then NUTMITE, I'm actually surprised that it's 91% in favor of Rocks Esports. I do think that NUTMITE, they are the underdogs in this situation, but I don't think you can count them out in that final match. I think main stage match 15 probably going to be the closest match of the night.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be the case, but our fans, they definitely are pretty one-sided as far as today comes in. They definitely have a team that they are looking out for as we now move on to the stage to introduce our teams, and first up is going to be KWANGDONGFREECS.
KWANGDONGFREECS retaining this 4-man roster that has been so successful for them from really preseason 1. World, Cool, Spear, and Sungmin. These guys would be basically the speed aces on any team they would choose to join if they chose to do so. And it's notable too, we expanded the maximum roster size here for the regular season over the preseason from 5 players to 6 players. KWANGDONGFREECS still coming in to this regular season say we do not need to add any additions to our roster. We do not need an item ace. We do not need someone that specializes in one specific mode. We are so good, we're so well-rounded that we can come through with a 4-man roster and actually win this thing.
KWANGDONGFREECS is certainly having a good season, but on the other hand, FINALEe, their opponent of the day, is having a really rough season right now. They dropped 2 games against Liv Sandbox, no, 3 games in fact in total, and it was 2 of them against professional teams. Now they're going up against another professional team today, and they need to step things up.
Yeah, arguably the scariest team for FINALEe-sports in their home stretch here as we continue to move on in the regular season, getting ready to that postseason. If they want to start to come back and vie for that wild card spot, that 5th ranked position in the standings, they're going to have to get some victories soon. And you're going up against the KWANGDONGFREECS here, so this is almost a David versus Goliath story. The rank 1 team coming in against the bottom ranked team here on day 6. But even if you can't emerge victorious here for FINALEe-sports, if they can at least maintain a reasonable set differential or round differential, if they can win an item mode, if they can take a track or 2 in speed mode, that could be the difference maker for them coming down the home stretch when we go into tiebreaker situations, should that occur in positions 5 and 6.
And KWANGDONGFREECS is actually being very nice to their opponents, saying, cheer up, we will do our best too. And I think it honestly reflects the situation that FINALEe is in right now. They're having a really tough time even trying to make it into that top 5 spot that we newly added.
Yeah, but I mean, for FINALEe-sports, it's kind of a painful position that they're in right now. Is their set win rate in speed and in item mode. It's 1 win and 2 losses in each of them. They aren't getting blown out in either of them entirely. Their win rates, while not the best, they're at 40% in speed, 50% in item. Nothing's just really gone their way. They haven't been able to put everything together in one singular match. And going up against the KWANGDONGFREECS, the favorite to arguably win this entire season, it's going to be tough for them, but I see you're laughing, Peter.
Yeah, they have funny posters as our cameras are focusing on them, and they're saying, we will be confident till the end. So what they're saying in Korean here is, Jung, please lend us your heart. They want the spirit of Jung back in them.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
There he is. And he says, if you guys are so frustrated about it, hey, then I'll play.
I mean, it would be a pleasure to have Jung back competing in this thing. As you know, we really got to see a glimpse of his glory in the preseason, and now to not have him here in the regular season, my heart kind of broke, as he was so much fun to watch. But let's get into the speed track list here for main stage match number 13. KWANGDONGFREECS versus FINALEe-sports. Kwangdong with speed mode priority is going to be going with some pretty difficult and technical tracks. We have Desert Construction Chaos as round 1. Round 3, World Tour Terracotta Twister, a track that the Freaks absolutely love, and rounding things off on Shanghai Circuit. Whereas for Finale, they're kind of more taking these field tracks where it's not quite as technical, but I'm concerned for them with the Freaks taking the track preferential here in speed mode. I don't know if they're going to be able to hang mechanically with the Freaks on these 3 tracks. Even if they go all the way to track number 5, it's going to be such an uphill battle.
Certainly is. KWANGDONGFREECS winning that coin flip definitely helps them out here as we get ready to now get into our first track of the day in speed. It will be Desert Construction Chaos.
And we kick off main stage match number 13 here between the Freaks and FINALEe-sports. Now, Finale, they are the bottom rung of the standings right now, where they're going up against the titans of the KWANGDONGFREECS, so their work is already cut out for them. But I have to say, Dutzy coming through with a pretty nice start right here, trying to play almost 1v3 for a moment there against the Freaks. But I mean, the sweeping from World already coming through here in lap number 1.
World has done so much damage to Finale right now, and Cool is also doing a phenomenal job of sweeping out Ding. You can see this 1-to-win condition is already so in place for KWANGDONGFREECS.
Yeah, we're only 30 seconds or so into this first track, and you can see that Cool is very aggressively trying to take that inner line and just completely hamstring the opposition. But you can really tell that KWANGDONGFREECS, they're just playing for Spear and Sungmin to kind of run away with this thing. So for everybody else on Finale right now, you kind of got to play catch-up. You got to take tight lines almost as if you're in a time trial. You got to boost, and then actually, hold on a second, as I think we might have some technical difficulties on one of the PCs here. We're going to have to wait and hear from the admin staff exactly what the situation was. That was a fantastic start there for the Freaks, but I'm guessing something possibly in the lower ranks just was not manifesting quite well there for the players. And actually, Woojin, we are now getting confirmation, did not connect with the game. So perhaps some kind of issue with his PC. The technical staff is now looking at that, making sure it gets cleared up, as we have some first game jitters here with the tech pause. But you can already see there from just the opening, the first 30 or 45 seconds on Desert Construction Chaos, how KWANGDONGFREECS, they are so capable of right from the beginning identifying a win condition and is absolutely gunning for it.
Yeah, and for Team Finale, having that connection issue from Woojin really makes sense as to why we had a bit of a one-sided beginning to that round, because I think Woojin has been really consistent in his performance and speed for Team Finale. So they also need to look for that today in order to not allow these easy 1-2s to go over to the side of KWANGDONGFREECS. So I'm really glad that we're able to figure out this tech issue early on in the day.
Yeah, I mean, with a setup as complicated as this one, where you have 3 different setups of matches, that's 6 teams that are come on stage switching out their gear on 5 different computers each. 6 at sometimes when you have a lot of these expanded roster teams rotating players through. It's a complicated setup, so just first game jitters. This does occasionally happen here.
Yeah.
In a live studio setting, it's just kind of part of esports in general. It's not alone with Kartrider Drift League. This is every esport basically across the globe, but hopefully Woojun's computer will be ready to go and as we get back into track number 1. And I love you pointing out really the 1-2 punch for KWANGDONGFREECS as they're really topping the leaderboards right now when it comes to these 1-2 finish. It's FREECS Esports, I believe, and KWANGDONGFREECS who have been able to win 7 rounds individually thus far with 1-2 finishes. We'll see if FINALEe-sports is going to be able to come back and hopefully stem that production coming in for KDF as we go back into round number 1 here on Desert Construction Chaos.
We are back for the rerun of our speed round 1. Previously, we saw KWANGDONGFREECS taking a very early lead, and this time they're looking to do the same. This time it's Spear and Cool contesting with Woojun and Ding. Yeah,
and a much better start here for Team FINALEe coming right out of the gates. I think by the 30-second mark, we had KDF in pretty much a 1-2-3 position with some hard sweeping coming in on the rear ranks, but already FINALEe absolutely bringing the fight to them. Woojun still holding on tight to that first rank position. See Spear finally able to pass him on the outside line as we enter the uphill section of this track.
And I'm loving the sweeping coming out of Spear right now, really preventing Woojun from taking first. And Cool went for a nice collision there, didn't get too much out of it, but I love the attempt.
Yeah, and so for Team FINALEe right now, I'm a little bit concerned about Dutzy and Hong that are kind of hanging back. Dutzy was able to make his way up to 5th rank position for a moment there, but for KDF, the situation, it's a little bit more complicated than before. You're not really gunning for the 1-2 finish anymore. You're kind of trying to dominate in the midfield as we enter the end of lap number 1. Spear finally able to take that first place position, but only for a moment.
Yeah, FINALEe was building some nice leads there, but we see some fantastic lines being taken by KWANGDONGFREECS, and it really allowed them to retake control of that 1-2 as Ding. He went for a bit of collision himself there. And if you take a look at the backup, FINALEe is so far behind on that 7-8 that it makes me concerned because there's so much pressure right now on Woojun and Ding.
Yeah, it seems like World, looking at that mini-map, is just trying to sweep Hong and Dutzy and keep them in control in positions number 7 and 8. Now Hong was able to pass up to position 6 for a moment there as the battle continues on, but as we look here, World actually with a rare misstep there. Took that inner line a little bit too tight. Perhaps there was a collision with Woojun. Is now FINALEe in a twist of fate for a moment. Was going on 1-2, and Sungmin is going crazy. Look at his line. Wow.
That was impeccable from Sungbin because now they do have that first place secured. FINALEe, they're only a point ahead right now. Ding and Woojun and Dutzy and Hong, they all need to keep their 2-3-5-7. In fact, now 2-4-5-6 looks to be the finish here for FINALEe, and they take round number 1.
Yeah, man, what an upset coming in here on track number 1. Sungbin did everything in his power to hold on to the rank 1 position in a really impeccable way. I don't think I've actually seen an individual racer in team speed take those turns quite like that before. That was really impressive, the line that he brought. But at the end of the day, FINALEe with a really strong midfield. Ding, Woojun, Dutzy, and Hong able to shore up the defense. And FINALEe in kind of an upset here takes the first track in speed against the speed goats, KDF.
That is certainly what happened here. I feel like the collision from Cool there, setting him back so far, really messed up the game plan for KWANGDONGFREECS there, because now their midfield needed to come up and try to contest that 1-2, but their positions were already in such a big disarray that FINALEe, eventually they did win that midfield battle.
FINALEe, they were able to win on the lower ranks as the sweeping was not enough. And with a strong midfield, took track number 1. We'll see if they're going to be able to deliver the same thing on their track of choice as we go into map number 2, World Tour Miami Drive. And off we go on the streets of Miami. KWANGDONGFREECS looking to be in a better position on this one. Is actually Sungbin, Spear, and Cool all for a moment holding on to those 1-2-3 positions as we go through these boosts. Now, Miami Drive, it plays a little bit different from a lot of the other team speed tracks that we have here. Is those boosts are so critical to hit the right timing from the right angle. You see everybody trying to come in on this one. If you miss them, it can be lights out pretty much for your position in the middle ranks.
Yeah, FINALEe, they're doing all they can to recover in the middle positions right now, but Woojun really needs to break apart this 1-2 from KWANGDONGFREECS to even have a shot. In fact, He gets a nice little collision there, and now Woojin and Hong, they're playing catch-up.
Yeah, keep in mind on this new patch, when you go for collisions like that one, it no longer depletes your nitro gauge, so you're actually able to keep a lot of momentum and play a little bit more aggressively with his body check fighting style. And Hong and Dutzy, they're going to try and come in. Dutzy, a nice inner line right there, actually able to move his way all the way up into second place. Sungbin right behind him.
Yep, and you can see right now, FINALEe, they're sitting on 6, 7, 8. So Dutzy, he needs to take first place and try to buy some time for his teammates. He took some aggressive lines there, but Cool is maintaining that first place.
Yeah, Dutzy actually, I think, missed one of those boost gauges, so you can see the effect that has on him as he was in second place, now falling all the way down to the 5th as KDF is starting to consolidate here in the top. And this time, it's Hung coming through, trying to do a little bit of sweeping to give his teammates time to close the distance, but KDF entering about the halfway mark here on lap number 2 are getting closer and closer to a 1-2 finish.
Yes, and now you can see Hong and Dutzy, Woojin and Ding, they all have that 3, 4, 5, 6, but it does nothing unless they can break the 1-2. I love the attempt from Dutzy there, but World Cool and Sungbin still holding on.
Yeah, KDF actually playing this one really well. You can see even Spear and Sungbin trying to sacrifice themselves a little bit to solidify the 1-2 position. Now Spear just sweeping Dutzy, just taking all the momentum away as Cool and World are running away with this one, and KDF is going to deliver their 8th 1-2 finish thus far in the regular season and tie things up 1-1 here with Team FINALEe.
It feels like the sweeping from KWANGDONGFREECS was so on point there. They were able to set back FINALEe through multiple key moments throughout that track, and it felt like the 1-2 was constantly being contested, but there was just never enough firepower to actually take that away for Team FINALEe.
Yeah, a couple of missed boosts there for Team FINALEe, just kind of lost the war of attrition there with the KWANGDONGFREECS. And once you get into a position where players like Spear can just start aggressively sweeping you to lock down the 1-2 ranks for Team KDF, it's a tough position to play from as the opposing team. Spear is one of the best defensive players in the business when it comes to sweeping, especially now that you're able to maintain speed and not lose too much nitro gauge from going for those plays. And now we're going back to KDF's map choice here for track number 3. It's going to be World Tour Terracotta Twister. Which team is going to take the lead in this best of 5?
We are tied 1 score each right now for speed between KWANGDONGFREECS and FINALEe-sports, and so far here in speed round 3, KWANGDONGFREECS repeating that strategy once again, always making sure to have a strong 1-2, and certainly they do have that right now over FINALEe.
Yeah, KDF has just been so solid with the 1-2s. They have more 1-2 finishes than any other team in the league right now here in the regular season. And you can even see the sweeping coming through right now. They're not playing for the 1-2 exactly just yet, but Cool is kind of starting to run away with this one. It's World and Spear and Sungbin all doing a little bit of sweeping in the rear ranks.
Yep, and we see them enter the Terracotta section, the Tomb section, and in the midfield, KWANGDONGFREECS, they did collide into each other, so it did set back the 5th player. So now FINALEe with more room in their bag to try to take away Cool in this lead.
Yeah, and if they can kind of play something similar to their game plan there on track number 1 to start this thing out and just win with a solid mid-rank, it could go their way. But KDF, they are so good on Terracotta Twister. I'd actually love to see the stats for them at the end of this season on this track, because it feels like in team speed, they are just one of the best in the business, as we had some really interesting collisions off the wall there. I think that was an attempt at sweeping that didn't quite work out for Team FINALEe, as Cool just continues to hold on to this first place position. Now World actually able to join him here in second rank.
And Cool has been holding on to this lead fairly well throughout the whole entire track. Now World here to try to send Dutzy off the tracks of Cool. As you can see, Dutzy going for some collisions there.
No.
And a big collision is going to completely set back the team members of FINALEe. KWANGDONGFREECS in complete control now.
Yeah, Cool basically sacrificed himself to push Dutzy off route and also block another player for Team FINALEe. So while he fell all the way down to position 6, that just locked in the 1-2-3 ranks there for Team KDF, as that's about as good as it gets. And this is one of the reasons why the KWANGDONGFREECS are so scary to play against in team speed, as they are just the best in the business, in my opinion, at identifying what their win conditions are in certain situations. So the call to come through to just completely sacrifice one player, Cool, one of your best racers, to just create chaos in the middle ranks there for Team FINALEe, It works perfectly. Yeah, he does fall off the track, but not until he takes down 2 players from Team FINALEe and sapping them with their momentum in the final stretch of Terracotta Twister. That locks in the 1-2-3 for KDF as they are now on match point, 1 track win away from winning the best of 5 here in speed mode.
Just as you put it, Sate, certainly the adaptability of each of the members of Guangdong Freaks played a crucial role in their success so far. Now 1 track away from winning speed as we move into track number 4, WKC Brazil Circuit.
And off we go on Team FINALEe's map of choice. We'll see how that plays out for them as Woojin already off to a really good start on this one, but cool. One of the best in the business at catching up. Even though he's in a kind of 1v3 situation here to start things out on lap 1, I'm liking his odds, man. He's taking these lines quite well, providing time for his teammates to join in.
Yeah, but this is going to be one of our wider tracks with so many different turns, so there's many ways for our players to catch up, taking different lines. So as long as Cool can keep this lead up, I think Guangdong Freaks still has a really good shot.
Yeah, for a moment there, it felt like World all the way in the rear ranks was just focusing on building up the nitro gauge for the remaining players of KDF and starting to pull ahead of the pack. And
yeah.
For a moment that was working, as Cool was able to get himself up into first place. But now you really see the chaos starting to come in as Sungbin and Spear join the middle ranks. Now FINALEe for now, they are holding on to ranks 1, 2, and 3. But as you said, Peter, this is a relatively wide track. There are a lot of different lines that you can take that all have their pros and cons. And so I would not be surprised here on lap number 2 for KDF to try and make a play. But so far for FINALEe on their map of choice, off to a great start.
Sungbin having a great line for himself there. He completely manages to take away that 1-2 for a second as Woojin and Hong, they do reappear in that 1-2. I think the biggest takeaway right now is that Guangdong Freaks, they are starting to recover. Spear is trying to catch up and provide help to Sungbin.
And he's already joining the ranks right now and actually pushing Woojin onto the grass for a moment there, saps a little bit of his momentum. So it's a very tight race right now in the top ranks. We're at 19 and 20 for a moment there. KDF barely now taking the lead. They had the 2-3-4. Keep in mind that is a win condition. Should they be able to hold on to that at the end of the lap?
Sungbin, he manages to take that rank 1 spot away from Woojin. And that would mean that his team is going to win if they can keep this up. And Sungbin takes a big collision there. An excellent execution on that one as Guangdong Freaks looks to finish the match. And they win at speed round 4, giving them the set win here in speed.
Yeah, Sungbin, that was such a killer move going in for that body check right at the home stretch of lap number 2. Just completely sapped the momentum of FINALEe's Woojin and locked in that first place position. And KDF in the middle ranks, they had a solid enough position that, you know, you secure first place, you secure the win there. It's going to be the 1-3-5 coming through for Team KDF as they win in speed mode. Sungbin even setting a new record here on WK Brazil Circuit for the regular season. Well done by KDF. As, you know, FINALEe, they looked really good there on track number 1. I love their opening to this one, but KDF, it just took them a little bit of time to warm up, and then they come through with a 3-track win streak.
Just as you put it, State, FINALEe certainly had a really good start to that track number 4, but the way Guangdong Freaks was able to maneuver that midfield ultimately won them speed, as now we get ready to swap in our item aces. We're going to have only one swap in on the side of FINALEe. It's going to be Planzy replacing Woojin. And of course, as we know, Guangdong Freaks, they always love their 4-man roster, so they're not going to have any swaps.
Yeah, one of the benefits of a 4-man roster is, you know, you get that first place prize at the end of the season. If you're the champions, you only got to split it 4 ways, right? So
yeah.
There's a little bit of reasoning behind the confidence here for KDF, where they're just so confident in their synergy as a team and their individual skill that they can roll with this 4-man roster and hopefully get a better cut of the pie, so to speak, should they become champions yet again here as we look at the item track list. Of course, Guangdong Freaks did have speed mode priority, so FINALEe is going to have item mode priority here, and I think this is really their best chance to try and force an ace matches here in item mode, as we're going to go to World Tour London Night, Graveyard Cemetery Circuit, Graveyard Dark Castle, Mine Motherlode, and then World Tour San Francisco Seaplane Base.
we see London Knight so frequently picked up by our teams here in KDL for item mode, so it is no surprise there. But FINALEe actually did manage to pick up 2 tracks that have been newly added this season of KDL. And we can see our fans there so desperate saying, please, FINALEe, win today.
I love that drawing, man, as we get ready to go into one of the most classic item maps we have here in the KDL. It's going to be World Tour London Knight to kick off item mode between KDF and Team FINALEe. Now, London Knight, a little bit different from some of the other tracks that we have here in item mode, given this new meta. If you, as Cool and Plansy both slow down and try and pick up a couple of extra items there. You know, it seems like the meta is switching more and more into an attack and tempo-based gameplay now that we have the heroic tier option for cars with more gears, excuse me, that allow players to race quite a bit more quickly. But still on World Tour London Knight, this feels like one of the tracks where so much of it still comes down to the nitrous, to the magnet finishes right at the finish line.
Yeah, that's a great point that you point out there, Stave. It is certainly about, wow, the item inventory rather than the pacing. So for instance, a water bomb like that in any other tracks would have been like, whoa, that's such a huge moment. But in a track like London Knight, I don't think our teams are too concerned as they focus more on grabbing these angels, but these water bombs are really on point today.
Yeah, actually, the water bomb, as you said, if there is just kind of one of them that catches a couple of players, it doesn't matter too much because, you know, it's a short track. You're not going to be able to gain too much of a tempo advantage. It's really all about setting up for that finale, but if the water bombs keep coming in like that, then suddenly you can actually start to really put a dent into the position of your enemies. As Dutzy, he had a really nice magnet there, gaining some speed on Cool. Cool actually getting hit with, I think, a water wisp, and then also the UFO, and then possibly even a rocket, so a lot of damage being done to him. That's going to allow Whirl and Sungmin to try to take the helm here for Team KDF, but FINALEe, we talked a lot about them swapping in Plansy as their item ace, and this is really the win condition for them here in this series, is to win in item mode, force an ace match, and right now, we're about halfway through lap number 3. They're in a pretty good position, but I'm a little concerned about the item setup they have right now. They don't have a lot of magnets, they don't have a lot of nitrous. Most of those are going KDF's way with the exception of Hong.
Ooh, I love that sneaky banana placement there, but it's going to get dodged out. It's now FINALEe. Hong popping a magnet on his teammate just to catch up and try to secure that first place right now. It seems like Hong is uncontested. He dodges out the barricade at the last second, and that is the item round number 1 going over to FINALEe.
I gotta say, as a team, it felt like KDF, they had more boost, they had more magnets overall. It was only really Hung that had that wombo combo setup, which is so critical on London Knight, but he was able to work it to perfection. The attacks were not enough coming in from Team KDF to stop him, and once again, Team FINALEe opening a best of 5 with a win.
Yeah, I was actually in complete agreement with you there, Stay. When we took a look at the inventory, it seemed like KWANGDONGFREECS had much better items, and that's because, like you said, there were so many huge water bombs that FINALEe was forced to pop their magnets and all of their items early on to try to catch up to Cool in the front. And I think that's what really set that gap in the late game. But I love that magnet utilization out of FINALEe there, securing that first place, and they did it really well.
And it's by far the most important setup on World Tour London Knight, more than any other tracks that I think we have right now in the current meta in item mode. As we get ready to move to a 3-star track, Graveyard Cemetery Circuit. This is KWANGDONGFREECS pick. And as it's a 3-star track, we're going to get to see some of the new items here in this patch. Let's see if KDF can tie it up 1-1.
Just as you said, Stay, item round 2 is going to be in a 3-star difficulty track. So we are certainly looking forward to seeing some of those big bananas, because whenever we see them, it's certainly exciting.
Yeah, big bananas. And also the Siren, I think, is probably my favorite addition to this patch, is Dutzy pops. It actually almost was going for a collision there on Whirl, but I think Whirl might have even fallen off the map for a moment there. As you know, the big banana, it's exciting. I love the big banana. Who's going to dislike any kind of big banana? But really, the issue for me is oftentimes, despite the size, these pro players are so good at dodging and taking better lines, whereas the Siren actually coming through in the midfield, being able to spin out a variety of racers on some of these really difficult tracks where you can force them to go off of the map and have to reset can really be a momentum changer. But I'm looking at this setup right now. KWANGDONGFREECS, we don't talk about Thunderbolts too much because usually you don't get them stacked up as much in this new item meta, especially on the 3-star tracks. But Sungmin and Cool both have Thunderbolts set up, and they even have an Angel Shield. FINALEe really not getting the best setup in terms of items thus far, as the first Thunderbolt comes in, and you can immediately see FINALEe lowering down to the ranks. It's actually 1 through 4 being held by KDF for a moment there. They had another Thunderbolt too.
I love the way our teams are maneuvering their plays around these jump sections, where if you actually get caught behind it, you don't have enough speed to make it to the other side, you can completely fall off the map, and that really sets you back. And for instance, we've seen a lightning being popped, but our players stay focused, and they actually try to knock their opponent players out. And that's what's been happening as we see World having a huge lead for himself, FINALEe really playing that catch-up.
Yeah, just look at the mini-map right now. World is so far ahead of everybody else, and KDF can really just try and play the aggression game here, as Clancy with that magnet was able to close the distance. But once again, the Thunderbolts are coming through. There is no Angel Shield here for Team FINALEe. And for everybody else right now on KDF, especially after these players for FINALEe are falling behind, it's all about just playing defense. You see Spear, he's basically just sweeping and blocking and not allowing Clancy to get anything, even denying him an item right there, as the finish line only 500 meters away. World is going to be securing the win here. I believe the UFO does slow a lot of the speed, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Yeah, Planzy, he popped that missile there, but it wasn't enough because World already crossed that finish line. And KWANGDONGFREECS answer back here in round 2 of item. So now we are tied 1-1.
And that one really went KWANGDONGFREECS' way. They were able to get off 2 separate Thunderbolts. There were no Angel Shields on the side for FINALEe for either of them to try and dispel that and retain their momentum. And KDF, once again, identifying their win condition. They saw that World could pretty much run away with this one here in item mode. You saw a lot of sweeping coming in from Spear. That's why he ends up not even finishing here on the track, because he was so dedicated to trying to slow everybody else down. As KDF, once again, their killer game plan coming to fruition.
Certainly is. KWANGDONGFREECS, their only weakness, we could say, was more so item than speed, but so far it doesn't seem like it's a weakness for KWANGDONGFREECS, as now they're looking to try to take us here to round 3. It is a track chosen by FINALEe here in Graveyard Dark Castle.
All tied up 1-1 here as we get started on Graveyard Dark Castle. Clancy slowing down the item ace here for Team FINALEe and actually landing a massive water balloon as a result of it. KDF does fight back, getting a water balloon and a water wisp there on Hong, but not doing too much. And it's also worth noting, Peter, with the new patch, it's a lot easier to get these solid water balloons off. I think it's why we're seeing it so much more often here in this season, is actually if you're playing in the first-person view, you can see on the minimap where the water balloon is going to land should you throw it at that moment. And these pro players have gotten even better at lining them up and catching 2, 3, possibly even 4 racers in clutch balloons because of it.
It certainly has made the item mode all the more exciting. So many good patches we've had for this game mode, as we see another huge water balloon connecting there. And now Dutsy, he's going to get caught out by it himself. So all these water bombs having such high value.
Yeah, water bombs were kind of, I mean, it feels like they're just so clutch, especially this track in particular, as some of these passageways can be relatively narrow and hard to dodge water balloons on. As Dutsy, for a moment there, looked like he was able to pass World, but instead just the attacks keep raining in from Team KDF, and World, with both an EMP and a shield, he's going to be able to dispel that UFO that was coming in. Now picks up a second shield, and so he can absorb a lot more aggro here from the players of Team FINALEe. And so I'm wondering for KDF, even though we're only on lap number 2 of 3, if they're going to start to try and play a little bit more of an aggressive game.
Yeah, FINALEe there, they got a beautiful water bomb off there on World. The World did have 2 shields, but it looked like he mistimed it. It came out at the last second, and it is really hard to dodge a water bomb with the shield because you don't get that warning like you do with the missile and water wisp.
Yeah, you have to really see it coming, or if you have a teammate behind you that can call it out, then that can obviously be really a boon on the defending side of things. As more attacks are going to come in, they do get dispelled. World was able to dodge that water bomb with his shield that time. It is actually Dane catches a pretty bad one, and this entire time, I want to say, Cool's been hanging on to an Angel Shield. He does pop one now, Hong actually, man, he used the magnet there on World, but what a big water balloon coming through. Okay, he's gonna pop the magnet once again. He also has a nitrous, so there's a lot of momentum, but Sungbin, is he gonna be able to go through the finish line? I think he will, the UFO catching him right before he crosses it, and I really thought Hong with a magnet and then another magnet and a nitrous was gonna have enough momentum to take the victory home there for Team FINALEe, but KDF just had so many tricks up their sleeve. Sungbin able to come away in first place, and KDF takes the lead now, 2-1.
It's really funny to me, State, that we were constantly talking about how good water bombs are, especially in this season, and near the end there, water bombs 2 times in a row caught FINALEe by the edge of their foot at the most crucial moment. So KWANGDONGFREECS, they certainly know how to utilize that item really well, and that's what I think really won them this track 3 and item here. So now KWANGDONGFREECS 2-1, leading against FINALEe and items. If they win one more, then there's no ace match. And then FINALEe, they're 0-4 in the season right now. That is not what you want as a FINALEe fan.
Yeah, FINALEe, if they want to force an ace match, they have to win the next 2 tracks, and it's going to have to start here as we load into map number 4 on Mine Mother Load.
We kick off here in the round 4 of item, and this is going to be a 3-star difficulty track. So once again, we do have our Siren back, perhaps one of our biggest items of the season. It certainly does a lot as far as gameplay goes for item.
I'm actually surprised Clancy didn't pop his there, as it seemed like he was gutting to try and sweep out, almost do a pit maneuver on a couple of KDF players. He does now pop it, actually barely misses getting Sungbin with it. As it's interesting to me, just to step back kind of big picture here, as Motherload is one of these longer 3-lap tracks that we have here. That KDF, they only got 2 track picks because, of course, FINALEe-sports did have item mode priority in selection. And
right.
KDF, they both picked 3-star difficulty tracks. So it seems like they're really liking the more tempo-based focus that is set up with this new meta. And so far, it's going pretty well. Yes, Tootsie is starting to pull away from the pack a little bit, but World and Sungbin, they're doing quite well to keep up with them.
That surely seems to be the case, as KWANGDONGFREECS always seems to have a player far in the lead, and it feels like FINALEe is constantly playing catch-up, as we saw a phenomenal block there so that Sungbin would not have to pop his shield. So KWANGDONGFREECS is making sure to keep so much pressure off their first player.
Yeah, and it's not even like they're going for a different cart build to try and really play a tempo advantage, kind of similar to what we saw in the preseasons. It's just, in fact, the way that they are utilizing these items. Even that barricade catching Clancy takes a lot of speed away from him. Now, Sungbin, there is a magnet here on the side of Clancy, so Sungbin will eventually get past, as he has a double shield. Not too much he can do about any of this. Is KDF, I'm kind of a little bit concerned for their position here. Now, Cool and Sungbin are able to work their way up into 2nd and 3rd place. World does have both a Nitrous and a Siren, which can work quite well if you can spin out 2 or 3 players, but the attack's coming through. Clancy's still in first, and he has a magnet and a shield. So coming down this home stretch, I'm wondering if that combination is going to be enough.
Sungbin's been slowed down by the magnet, as we see Clancy pop a magnet of his own to catch up the World, and a good utilization of that shield as well as the body blocks. I wonder if Clancy's going to lock in that 1-2.
Oh, Hong also has a Nitrous right now. He's saving onto it. We have 300 meters left to go. Hong gonna pop it right here onto this uphill. It's Hong versus Spear, but Spear has just too much momentum, and KDF are going to take the 3-1 win in item mode, the same way they did in speed. Yes, they did drop the first track of each set, but at the end of the day, they are victorious 3-1 in each best of 5, and that's gonna be a 2-0 win for KDF over Team FINALEe.
Man, I really thought that Hong might be able to win the match for FINALEe there, because he's had such a beautiful moment with the body blocks. But I love that KWANGDONGFREECS is able to stay focused no matter how big of a setback they get. It seems like they're always there in the final moments.
Yeah, and I feel like there was a couple tracks here in item mode where Hong was in a position where he might be able to get the win, and it's not as if he made a mistake. It's not as if he messed up, and that's why FINALEe-sports wasn't able to pull through with a victory. It's just that KDF, their game plan is so rock solid. They find themselves in these late game situations, and usually they have a couple of players that are ready to go through with some aggressive plays and attack the lead racers there for Team FINALEe. And behind it, they also have a couple of racers who can just run away with a thing, whether it be with a Nitrous and a Siren or a Nitrous and a Magnet, and just come through in those final moments as KWANGDONGFREECS really starting to pull ahead of the pack right now. They remain undefeated here in the regular season. And I think at this point, you know, they were pretty much more than halfway through the round robin stage.
Right.
I think KDF, they're basically a lock for the postseason. And the fact that no other team is undefeated right now and KDF is 4-0, I would be surprised to see them lose this rank 1 position as the league continues on. They are looking so solid.
Especially given that one of their biggest rival opponents, like Live Sandbox, is right now sitting at 1 win and 2 losses in total. Just as you put it, really just sets their position rock solid for the postseason moving forward as far as KWANGDONGFREECS goes. But for FINALEe-sports, picking up their 4th loss of the season today, it's really hard to say if they're going to have a shot anymore to even get to that wild card match.
I think they would have to win. They have to win all of their remaining team matches from this position if they wanted to do it. The best they can hope for with an 8-team setup in a round robin format is to go 3-4, I believe, at this point. So for Team Finale, playoffs are probably out of the picture right now. So I think for these players, you just kind of want to end the season as best as you can. This has been kind of a dismal start for them, but their round differential, it's not that bad. It's just they haven't really been able to put everything together in just one set, you know? They haven't been able to get that one win.
Yeah, certainly that's what happened today. They didn't make it to the ace match, but before that, in 2 out of the 4 matches they played so far, they did get to that ace match, and it was Sting always representing his team, which is no surprise because we've seen Ting have so much success in the previous preseasons, but just this season, it hasn't been his time.
Yeah, and FINALEe-sports, kind of the old Rocks roster coming out for the preseason into the regular season, losing Jung, who was arguably the best solo player in Team Speed throughout the entire preseason, is just such a pain, so hard to replace, and they haven't really been able to put the pieces together. But as we go into this break, we're going to get back and go into Live Sandbox versus Team Always as we continue on with the second team match. You don't want to miss it, guys. Don't go anywhere.